What's up, guys? It's Tiffany, owner of Christian Michael Hair Extensions. I'm going to teach you how to take this up into that left photo right there. Click the subscribe button. Let's go.
All right, you guys. So this looks scary. This looks like a doozy. And I'm not going to lie. Like, was it easy? No, but it's really not that hard. It's not as hard as it really looks. I think a lot of stylists see this and go, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So here is the plan. She has gray. She's about a level 6. And then she's got this platinum blonde hair on the ends. So we're going to add extensions in. We want to give her long hair and we want to take her darker. So the best thing that is happening in this situation is the fact that her blonde is even. So I don't have to worry about pulling bleach through or any of those things. So I'm going to start my weave in the back and I'm only going to be tapping at the regrowth. I'm going to be comboing light and dark, and I'm also going to be tapping in 7.0 from Magix 10 and 21 volume to cover her gray. I'm also going to make sure that I am tapping all of the hair underneath it as well. There are going to be a few areas that I will not tap, which is going to be her hairline, and I will do that last to keep things super clean. So I'm going to go on ahead and tap it in here. And on the bottom, I'm going to come back here and I'm actually going to be using 7N in Redken Shades EQ as my low light. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh my gosh, why didn't you use like a warm, a gold? She really didn't need it. She was pretty warm in person and I thought it would come out ideal, and it really, really did. I think sometimes less is more. So you're seeing me covering the gray here and using that 7N in between, because some of these pieces I want to keep light and some of them I don't. Now, I get asked all the time, okay, what is your pattern? Is it light and then dark, like one dark, one light? I don't have an answer for that because I do everything by visual. So if I feel like it needs it, I do it. And I'm not counting foils or, two light to one dark. Like, I'm really not doing that. I'm just looking at the whole picture and what I want in the end result. And I think that's what's so cool about hair and what really makes art and our job so fucking cool. So we're tapping in that bleach, I am feathering it up, and then I'm tapping in her root color as well. Now, the one thing I did do is I kept all of my sections at a V. Now I'm starting to go horizontal, and I really like to do this whenever I'm doing a full highlight, a balayage, any of those things. I go with the curvature of the head, and then I start to go into my horizontal partings. And you can see I am adding the dark as well, and really saturate whenever you are working on somebody that is level 10 and above and you're trying to put low lights in. Make sure that you're really saturating, especially if you're using something like Redken Shades EQ, because you don't want to end up having any patches in between. And the reason why I'm using some foils for the dark, and you'll see that some I am not, it's because those little blonde pieces where I am using bleach, sometimes they hang out of the corner, and I really hate that look. I'm sure you guys know when the ends of your foil, the blonde accidentally touches the dark and you're like, son of a bitch, I probably should have been more careful. So that is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing here. Again, tapping in the root, utilizing my Redken shades, really smacking it in there, making sure I'm saturating really well. And I am not keeping things really tight because I want a lot of dimension. And if I kept her weave really tight, I knew she would come out super, super blonde. And I wasn't really going for that. I was going for a nice, subtle, dimensional blonde, still light, still blonde, but I wanted her to be more dimensional and just a softer, beigey looking blonde. And again, you guys, I am using large sections. I have a tendency to do large sections. I already know that I'm going to be doing a root smudge without a shadow of a doubt. She is getting a root smudge. So it doesn't mean that I'm not being careful. It just means that I know that my sections are larger in the back. Now I'm going around the hairline and I make sure I do not tap around her face until the very end with my root dye. And what I am doing here, you guys, is I'm keeping everything at an angle. What this angle does is when she splits her hair down the middle or she parts it, it's going to give her a nice dimensional blonde look in the front and dark pieces aren't going to be right up in her hairline, because that is a big deal. You could have a client that is super blonde and you have too much dark in the front and they feel all over dark. Now I'm going to go into my sides here. I like to keep a pretty large section by the ear area pretty dark. I feel like this helps a lot with dimension, especially because I am going to be adding in extensions as well. So I don't really use fine sections in that area, especially with this type of look. Now I'm going to go on ahead and do her hairline on the other side. Again, keeping that angle. And if you can see, I have like a point in the middle from my left side and my right side, almost like this will give her that like Farrah Fawcett open, blonde look. I love this parting, and truth be told, I use this almost daily because it is my saving grace. Like no matter what, they are not going to feel dark in the front. So now that we have everything foiled, I like to go in and grab the darker pieces that I didn't already place in. And this is kind of where I get a little creative with things. And I look at it and go, okay, how much dark do I really want to be in there? And so this is where I go in and I grab some of those pieces, some in the back I did not. This is me pulling the foils. When I pull foils like this, when the hair is super porous, I make sure I'm rinsing at the same time, because it picks up, you guys, so fast. And I know it's only a level 7, but at the same time, you guys, it's just not worth it. So now we're going to go on ahead and go into our root smudge and our tone. And I use that same 7N from Redken Shades EQ and I tapped it in. Then I went in with 10GI and 10N from Redken Shades EQ. I did everything all together. I love this. I know a lot of people like to do it separate, but I promise you guys, you don't have to. You don't have to be scared. Shades is so opaque that it really comes out, in my opinion, better this way than if you are separating it, going in, and then going in with your toner. And this is the result. I'm going to go on ahead and put Irish Cream in from our line Christian Michael Hair Extensions. I'm going to go on ahead and put in 1 row. If I put in two rows, her top is so short, you guys, it would show. I am 100% sure. This is where tape is going to be my very best friend. Now, I know a lot of stylists don't like tape, but there are just situations where you have to do it. And if you don't have our remover and our tape, please get it, because it doesn't come out sticky and it literally is a godsend. Also, I adjusted my front beads because I'm using machine weft and I needed it to be just slightly wider. I am also doing the hidden method on her today, and I'm using about medium size sectioning. It was really perfect for her. It was really quite ideal. The other thing, I used brown thread. The reason why I did that is because I choose all of my thread based on the base of the client's hair. I do not do it based on the extensions that I am installing in their head at all, because you're going to be able to see that. If I had gone in with super light thread or blonde thread, it would have actually been more noticeable. So I always opt for what the client's natural root looks like, because it gives a more seamless blend and it's a lot more invisible than it would be had I used a lighter thread. And that is the same with my beads. I used the brown beads, even though she's blonde, because I based everything on her root color and nothing else. So at this point, I've decided to start stacking my tape extensions, and I like to go in and flat iron. And when I stack, I do use a bricklay sectioning. Here, I never keep everything one on top of the other. The reason being is that it does not come out seamless at all. We need to be able to fill in those gaps in between our sections. So bricklaying up is the most ideal. And a lot of people ask me, Tiffany, why don't you place the tape, lift it up, grab the hair off and place one underneath? And I have just found that that's very painful. And a lot of times clients feel like their hair is ripping. And so for me, I opt to lift the hair just as you guys have seen in all of our education. And in reality, it gives the hair a little bit of a gap and a little bit of a space for movement. So this is why I install the way that I do. And I like to style as I go if I'm going to have a straight style, especially because I know I'm going to be heavily cutting her today to make everything blend. So the other thing that I'm doing is when I am installing my tape, I am absolutely taking into account her growth patterns in the back. I am going back and forth looking, okay, can I see this? Can I add another piece? I'm always going to be pushing the limits for hair density if I can. So I'm looking at it going, okay, this is about where we're at. You know, how much more can we add? We can't add anymore. So at this point, we're going to start moving to our corner areas, our side areas. And I like to make sure that I am not installing too close to her ear. I follow all the rules that I tell you guys in our trainings that are, you know, all within this platform. And so I follow all of those and I make sure that I'm not getting anything too close because that shit can be so uncomfortable. You guys know I'm a heavy extension wearer. So I get it and I know. So again, I'm just stacking up and I'm going in a horizontal pattern here and I'm making sure that I am bricklaying and making sure that I am stacking slightly over my bottom portion. Okay, if you guys don't remember bricklaying, please go back. It is all in there just so that you guys understand, and it's totally okay if you don't, because we are always here to teach and it does not make you dumb whatsoever. It just means that you probably didn't know that, and that's okay because there's a whole bunch of shit I don't know. So we're good there. So with this particular client, I got super close to her part line and I did the exact same thing on the other side and I stacked as much as I humanly could. I also asked my client about their lifestyle. Are they actually going to style it? And I know this particular client will. And so for me, this was super ideal. And I love when they're like this because it gives me more leeway to stack more and add more hair and give them the look and desire that they truly, truly want. So at this point, you guys, I am absolutely going to have to cut off what I love to call that little tail, and I'm going to go in and point cut. I don't always point cut, but point cutting your length is going to be your softest look. It's going to look the most like hair. And for me, it's super ideal. Now I'm going to go in and I already know I'm going to layer it up like a savage beast. I am not going to layer from her shortest layer though. I'm going to recreate layers, free-handed, all visual. If you are not doing this visual, I'm telling you guys right now, you are selling yourself short. Because extensions are not like any other thing. It's not regular hair. We are looking to make it look good right now, not for symmetry, not for any of those things. We want things to lay correctly. And when you're working with extensions, it is going to be visual. So I created my front layers here. I am over directing and I am using my razor. And I find that the razor also gives a super, super natural look to it. Now I'm going to go in and point cut my corners, and that just made all the difference in the world here. As you can see, her blend is perfect. It came out absolutely gorgeous, you guys. And please let me know if you guys have any questions. I adore you guys. I love this community and I'm so proud of each and every one of you.